So did you know that there was a consumer watchdog report that indicated that roughly 40% of Nintendo Switch Joy-Con controllers experience some kind of drift? 40%, that's almost half. 57% of those people experienced it within the first year of owning the Nintendo Switch. And we just found out that Nintendo is not putting Hall effect sticks inside of the new Joy-Con 2. So I'm here to give you a little bit of a warning, but maybe not the one that you're expecting. So going all the way back to the beginning of the Nintendo Switch, drift has really always been an issue. I did some videos on it early in the Switch Lite. That was the biggest concern, was the Switch Lite, because you can't just send a Joy-Con in for repair. It's your whole system. If your sticks go bad in there, you're basically out of a system or you're gonna have to replace it yourself, which isn't a hard thing to do, but also something a lot of people don't wanna deal with. Nintendo got sued. They had class action lawsuits going on because so many of these things were drifting. It was a real problem. It's not one I experienced myself a ton. I think I maybe had one stick drift, and it was on my original Switch, but I ended up trading that into to GameStop for the V2 Switch. So I didn't really deal with it all that much. I never had a problem with it with any of my personal Nintendo Switch consoles. One of my daughters did have a stick go bad that I replaced. So we've had a little bit here, but not that much. You know, I haven't had 40% of my sticks go bad. I've had a lot of Joy-Cons, but I do know it is a problem. So of course we were all wondering, when the Switch 2 was launched, would we see Hall effect joysticks to replace the ones that they had in there? And the answer is no. I can tell you this, I have played the Nintendo Switch 2. I have videos up that I'll link at the end if you want to check those out. I can tell you the sticks generally feel about the same as the old ones. That does not mean that they are the old sticks. And this is kind of the warning that I want to give you in this video. It's a little different than you're probably expecting. You need to be aware that just because the stick is a Hall effect stick does not mean you can't have problems with it. They have a whole nother set of problems, calibration issues, and sometimes they just keep coming back. I know Jeeb told me earlier when we were recording a video for the podcast channel, he had a set of Hall effect sticks that would come out of sync basically every time he used them. He would use them for a little while and they would just start kind of going all over the place and glitching. He had to reset them in the system all the time. He eventually just stopped using them. So they do have problems, but yes, they have less problems than regular sticks just because they don't have anything touching on the inside. If you don't understand what a Hall effect stick is, it's basically magnets instead of things actually touching. So instead of things actually pushing down on a magnet or a piece of metal, it uses magnets to sense where you're moving. So you don't have to worry about the friction of the things touching, creating, you know, dust in there or anything else just building up on the surface of where you're trying to read. That's what leads to things drifting. Hall effect sticks make that part of it a non-issue, but I do want to talk about the Switch 2 Joy-Cons as they are right now. While they don't have Hall effect sticks, this does not mean that they have the same sticks. In fact, I would be willing to bet that they definitely do not have the same sticks. Let's think about what we just talked about earlier in this video. Nintendo had class action lawsuits against them. They don't want to do that again. To put the same exact sticks in your next console that caused you so much of a headache would be completely stupid. And while we're seeing them do some really dumb things right now as far as the launch of the Switch 2 goes, I don't think this is gonna be one of them. I don't think we're gonna have to deal with a lot of stick drift this time around because I do think they've redesigned whatever's happening in there and made this product better. This was an issue almost from the very beginning of the Switch. This is the problem of all of the problems that the Switch 1 had or anything else that you think they might have corrected. This is the problem they have had the longest to look at and find a solution for. Now, they can't say, yes, we fixed stick drift, because that would be admitting fault, and they can't do that. They can't say, yeah, we messed up. I mean, with a class action lawsuit and everything that's going on, they can't admit fault. They can say what they have said, which is we have redesigned the Joy-Con from the ground up. So I would say, instead of getting very upset because it's not a Hall effect stick, I think we need to wait. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt in this and hope that they see that they had a problem and they addressed it. Just because it's not a Hall effect stick doesn't mean it can't be good. There are plenty of other high-end sticks out there that work just fine and are not prone to drifting. Yes, they can get drift, but not like we saw with those Joy-Cons. So we do have a chance for this to be a different type of stick and not have to worry about drift at the same time. I mean, you can clearly see from the way that the sticks look, they are a different stick. Yes, as I said, they do feel the same. They definitely feel exactly the same. They're the low profile. They don't have a whole bunch of travel, so they're not the greatest sticks on earth anyway. But they do look different underneath the tops. You can see down in there, it's not quite the same. So I'm definitely gonna be taking my Joy-Con apart to see what's in there and what they've changed, how they've gone about actually fixing this problem. But my warning to you is this. Let's not freak out because we don't have Hall effect sticks in the Joy-Con. I think let's give it some time. We'll see, you know, towards the end of 2025, into 2026, we'll see what's happening with these Joy-Con and if people are having issues. At that point, if we've got them and we're right back where we started, I mean, hey, I don't know. I guess I'll be right there with everybody else mad because I may have the problem too. But I really do honestly think we need to take a step back from this and calm down and see what's actually in this thing before we go crazy because it's not Hall effect. Let me know what you think about all this stuff down in the comments below. Are you really that upset that they're not Hall effect, or are you willing to give whatever's in there a shot? That's gonna do it for this one, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. Please leave a like. Make sure you are subscribed. We'll see you in the next one.